That's life. That's inner city life is just like, holy shit, is about to pop off in here?
Yeah. Right? Like, how many people died in Chicago last week? Some insane number. They were reporting on the lack of attention that the murders in Chicago are getting in, like, the national news, and how crazy it is.
Crazy.
How,
I've been to Chicago several times. The one thing that sticks out to me every time I go there is how segregated it is.
Yeah, I've never gone to anywhere
for
but
a major city like New York is like we're all piled up together.
4 killed, 24 wounded in weekend shootings. God. 28 people got shot, dude. That is crazy. 28 people in a
12:15
weekend.
in the afternoon, it said.
Fuck.
Standing on the sidewalk,
Jesus
someone
Christ.
opened fire.
Jesus Christ. Like, there is a war going on in Chicago that's way more deadly than most of the wars we're engaging in overseas. You don't hear about that many soldiers dying every day.
Now that's another scenario. How we said, like, that's real.
Yeah, that's real. Right,
The
but
fear is real.
unless you're there,
you walk outside in Chicago. That is a real fear that you should have.
And this is what's crazy. The number of people in Chicago this year passes 1,400. 1,400 people shot.
Now, how many people do we know? How many people got shot, like, doing tours of Afghanistan?
That's a good question.
Was it
so what is
1,400?
this? What is this? This is over the year?
This is just
This year?
This year, yeah.
Okay. So let's Google how many soldiers were shot overseas this year. You know, that's a weird thing, man, that we got a war going on. If that was Mexicans invading North Dakota and shooting people and that many people were dying every day, we would be taking action. But because it's happening to people...
If it was 1,400 and 100 of them were white people, it would be an issue.
Oh, yeah.
If it was 1,300 black people and 100 white people, it'd be...
Yeah.
We shut Chicago down.
You're really right. This is, I mean, it's something that people don't talk about.
It's 300. I mean, it's like, it'd be crazy.
That's a weird statistic. It's a terrible situation, like, culturally, to have something like this is glaring
and you know
point.
what? And with 1,400 people being shot, that means, and people don't want to realize this, is, you know, post-traumatic stress disorder is a real thing in the ghetto as well as in the hills of Afghanistan.
Like, of course.
It's real.
Of course.
So when you see something that, when people are like, why these guys have guns on them, it's like, dude, 1,400 people got shot. I'm just trying to get to school and back.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to work and back.
Of course. It's you know, we're not protecting those people. It's
exactly.
If they were stuck somewhere overseas in the middle of some war, you know, and they were American citizens, to be like, please help get us out of here.
We got to get these. Yeah.
If there was a place that had, like, statistically the numbers of the South Side of Chicago where all the murders going down, if there was a place statistically in another part of the world, we would be saying
put those numbers anywhere else, and it's a crisis.
Yeah. If we had, so let's say Hawaii. Let's say if we had just moved into Hawaii, like just took over Hawaii, and then we were in an area where people started getting shot and killed by locals like that, we would want to extract those people from Hawaii. We'd scoop them up from an island. We would think they'd be shooting at the helicopters as we rescue them, right?
Right.
Well, you just look at the real numbers, just the raw numbers. That's a crazy number of people getting shot in a year.
Just this year. It's July. July just started.
How many soldiers got shot?
I'm trying to find the wounded. I can only find deaths.
Okay, what's the deaths?
It's only like 1,500 total since like 2001.
Since 2001, man. This is since January.
Well, it seems weird saying only.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry.
I know what you're saying. You're saying in comparison to the other number since January. Yeah, that's insane.
It's crazy.
That is insane. And that's happening right here in the good old US of A in one of the biggest cities in the world. Chicago's giant, awesome city.
And it's happening in other cities also that people don't know about.
But Chicago's the most glaring.
Yeah.
Because I don't travel around there, so I don't know what happened or why it happened, why they have this segregation there, and what it was all about.
Go to Chicago, man. It's like black people all the way over there. Then there's downtown where it's nice and everybody's, you know.
Detroit has that too, right?
Detroit as well, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Man.
Then you go down south, it's like that. You go to Louisiana. It's crazy.
If you were the king or the president, Tony Rock.
If I was the president?
How do you fix this?
You have to fix this. It's a process, man. First, I always say number one is education.
Right.
Education is number one. If you're getting a better education, then you just avoid the pitfalls naturally because you just know that these certain things are wrong. And
Yeah.
and by getting a better education, I mean you have opportunities to do. You have a music appreciation, you have the arts, you have sports, you have things to occupy you during school hours and after school hours. There's no any type of extracurricular activities for these kids. In Chicago, there's gang life, which you are born into, which you are expected to go into once you are a certain age. All right, you're a man now, here's a gun. We don't like those guys. Those guys don't like us. You don't even question it. It's like my father's been this way, my grandfather's been this way, my uncles are this way, my big brothers are this way. You're born right into it.
You're born in a war zone.
You're right, and you don't question it.
And it's a war zone where you sleep and your family lives.
Right.
Not just a war zone with soldiers, but a war zone with families.
Right. And another thing, better education, you're more worldly. If you see the world, you realize how small your neighborhood is, and there's a bigger world out there, and you want to go places and see things. Then you realize, like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
But these are people that I guarantee probably never left Chicago.
Right.
Probably never went on vacation to the South to visit grandparents and realized, damn, the South is nice and quiet and the people are friendly, and they've never been to, the zoo and saw an animal and went home and Googled the mating rituals of this. Open your mind. Open your mind, you see the world. The stuff that you're involved in becomes just so small.
Yeah.
I don't like this guy because he has on red and I have on blue. I don't get it. So
But
education.
That tiny little area, that he operates in with living his life, it does matter. Right, it's a reality.
Right. Your reality is what's around you.
Yeah, that's what.
Until you get a scope of a bigger world.
Yeah.
Like I grew up in the hood. I grew up in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, one of the wildest neighborhoods when I was growing up there. But my vision was past it. My vision was, this is going on outside, but I'm going to be there one day.
What do you attribute having the ability to do that to?
Having a mom and a dad. My father worked 2 full-time jobs my whole childhood. My father literally worked 80 hours a week.
Wow.
80. So just to see him go every day, like, damn, this dude works hard, man.
Wow.
Didn't have a lot to show for it. Made sure his kids had. Mom was a teacher. Education was, she made an emphasis on it.
Wow.
It was just like my friends. One of my best friends down the block, no dad. My friend across the street, no dad. My friend 2 doors down, no dad. Then crack came, and that was everything.